welcome back to Torque and Power. I appreciate you guys checking in. If you guys like the content, please hit that subscribe button. We love it here, helps us out. But today, what are we talking about? WTF, right? What the heck is that title about? Well, that title, it's simple. It's about the windshield. And you think that windshield, buying something that's easy, at least in my opinion, it was difficult. It was challenging to find the right one that fit me to go out there and go touring and what I liked. So I figured let's make a video on this. You know, we did one with the touring tips. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper. And I thought the windshield would be a good one to talk about because I do get a lot of questions on it. So let's dive a little bit deeper into it. There's a lot of companies out there that make windshields, right? Harley-Davidson has their wind splitter one. Clockworks, they have their flare windshield. Memphis Shades makes windshields. So there's a lot of companies and they're not cheap when it comes to buying these things. They're anywhere from $100 all the way on up to $200, 250 bucks. So that gets expensive, you know, and you want to pick the right one. And there's dealers, some dealers that have Clockworks or Harley and whatnot, and you can go and you can demo them. I would suggest that if that's something you're thinking about, definitely go out and demo a windshield and try to figure out what fits. But there's so many options that the dealers can't carry all of them, and they certainly can't carry all the brands. Now, myself, I'm not sponsored by anybody, you know, and the videos that I would go look at, these guys are sponsored by Clockworks or whatever it may be. So to me, it was a little bit of a biased opinion about what works and what doesn't work. I also think there's more into it than just function, right? A lot of people just think, okay, you know, slap something on, it's gonna cover me, it's gonna do the wind buffeting. Yeah, that's great, that's one part of it. If you're like me, that's not just it. You know, you buy this sexy machine, right? I mean, to me, this thing's gorgeous. I love the lines of it, how it goes from high to low. And I want the windshield to complement that. You know, I don't want some big sky-high windshield and the thing looks hideous, you know? I just don't want that. I don't want to come back to my bike and it looks horrible like that when I go out touring. So I want something that can be in between. It's functional, yet it looks good. So this is kind of my woes back and forth of what I've gone through on windshields. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy off this windshield and we're gonna run through them. Just briefly run through them. You guys can see how I actually look on the bike with it. And then I'm gonna talk about what I thought was like the pros and cons of that windshield, but kind of make it quick, you know, I don't wanna sit there and drag on about a windshield. I do have a lot of windshields from my time of just touring, right? I've done a lot. So it depends on whether or not I'm doing a short ride around town. I'll put on a different windshield because I like the wind feel and I like the lower look of the windshield itself on the bike. But when I'll go off and I'm gonna go for 14 days, 10 days, whatever it may be, and it's a long ride, I do want more comfort. And I do want the wind to buffet up and over my helmet. So I can feel comfortable and it's just not beating the heck out of me, right? Now this is just my opinion, what I like to do, right? But I'm hoping this helps others. But I do have a total of what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windshields, including the stock one. So I thought we would run through it. So I got everything from the stock windshield, this guy, the little 5-incher that comes from the factory with it, to a nice tall wind splitter from Harley that's a 10-inch guy. This is like a little smoke tint version. And then I even have it all the way, I'm not gonna show you all of them right here, but I do have it all the way up to the tallest one that Clockworks makes for a flare windshield. So I'm gonna toss each one on here. I'm gonna get you guys set up and then we're gonna talk about it because I think it is a big deal. And hopefully this helps you guys out. All right, let's get it set up. All right, I figured it'd be good in case you guys are not aware, there's just 3 bolts that hold on the windshield. Super simple, not a big deal. Torx 27 is what you guys are gonna use to take it off, real easy. Harley sells these toolkits if you guys want it. This is my own personal guy from in the garage, but Torx 27 is what takes it off. So it's just a whopping 3 bolts, if you guys can see it. So 1, 2, and 3, and the one in the middle is longer. Really easy to do. In my case, I just have this edge trim that I have to take off as well. Just make sure nothing scratches there. And then from there, this guy just slips out. And then we're gonna run the gauntlet. We're gonna run through all these guys and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, if you don't know, this comes down to kind of some simple things that you have to be aware of, that I was not. One of them is definitely gonna be obviously your body type, right? You tall, you short, that's gonna change how this windshield is gonna hit you, right? Whether you're tall in the torso, in the legs, whatever. Now I'm 6'3", 240, so I can give you guys some kind of idea when it comes to this. The other thing that's a big tip is the seat. The seat is gonna make a big difference. If you change out your seat, it's gonna clearly change your height. It's gonna change how you actually touch the ground and everything else, and you're gonna fit when it comes to that windshield. So if you're one of those that changes out your seat, make sure you're aware of that when you go out and tour, if you have a bigger and plushier seat. And then when you're going around town, you change it to something slimmer. Do be hyper aware of that, because it is gonna change the dynamic of it completely. So with that said, if you want something that's maybe a smaller windshield and you like the look of that better, think about maybe even dropping your seat first and see how that looks, because you can easily get like an inch or two less of a windshield to help out. And that's one of the things that I did. I put on this 2018 CVO seat, so it dropped me lower in the saddle because I want that lower windshield look. Before this, I had a hammock seat. It props you up higher. So 2 inches higher when I would go touring, I would need that much taller of a windshield when it comes to it. All right, so basically, there's two different kinds of windshields when it comes to it, right? There's your short little guys that you're gonna kind of be around town, as I would like to call it, and then there's your taller ones when you wanna go out and touring. Not to say that you can't go and do long distance with a short windshield. I've done it many times, even on my stock windshield, the little guy that's only 5 inches, I've gone long distance on that guy. Tail to drag and all sorts, and again, I'm in Illinois, which is why I'm bundled up in a sweatshirt out here in the garage, because it's freaking cold in Illinois, but you can do it. If you like the wind, you like all that, that's awesome. But if you want a little bit, maybe you like more music and you want to hear the sound, taller windshield is going to help you. You want the buffeting where the wind is going to be going up and over your helmet or your head, you're going to want a taller windshield, right? If you got Bluetooth and you want to be able to hear it clear and the wind's not coming at you, you're going to want a taller windshield. You don't want it beating on you so much, the wind, you're going to want a taller windshield. So you kind of got those things to think about. So what do we got here? This guy is a wind splitter windshield from Harley, and this is a 7-inch. This is the one that I predominantly probably have on this bike the most, especially if I'm riding around town. I like the way it looks. It's got the little flare here in the kick, and that's what Harley likes to say for the buffeting. This is the smoke style windshield, and I have no issue. It's so easy to see right up and over. It's nothing that I'm gonna be looking through the windshield. This gives me a lot of wind, and I think I like the look on the bike. From the stock windshield of the 5-inch one, just because it does have a little bit of flare, I do feel that it does kick up a little bit over me. It's not so much bam, right in my face. So this guy's a 5-inch, I do like it. This is my around the town windshield. Again, I can see through it, and it's the smoke version. Okay, let's drop on another one. All right, so here we go. We talked about it. This is the stock windshield, right? This guy's a 5-inch one from the factory. Perfectly fine. It isn't a problem. But again, I would look at this one as an around the town windshield. If you're going to do some serious touring, I would think that you would want a taller windshield. You want more protection. But as you can see how this guy fits, I mean, this guy's right in line with my chest, and that's it. So I'm taking on everything when it comes to this. If I'm on the highway, it's a little bit harder to hear my speakers, that's certainly for sure, and my music. A little bit harder for my Bluetooth when I'm hitting that 55-60 mark. The one that I had on before, the wind splitter, that was the 7-inch from Harley, that one I can actually hear the music a little bit better. And I can also hear my Bluetooth a little bit better. That is the one that I prefer. I have not had this one on since maybe the very first year of actually owning the bike. But you know, it certainly is fine if that's as far as you want to go. But if you're looking into like actual wind protection, this one would not be it. But it's easy enough to see over. It's all that good stuff. But you know, it's about chest height. So that's my thoughts on that guy. Let's switch to the next. All right, now we have Harley's 10-inch wind splitter. What you need to know about this is they do not make this in smoke. It is a light tint when it comes to it. It's not that dark. They do that so you can actually see through it, right? So if your height makes it, they have to see through it. It's perfect for you, right, when it comes to it. I do think it supplies really good buffeting. I have used this one long distance when it comes to going out to Sturgis, Daytona, whatever it may be. And I do find it adequate when it comes to it. What you do need to be aware on this guy, so now this is Harley's tallest wind splitter one, okay? Harley does make taller ones that just go straight up, kind of that bubble kind of look that they have. If you do want to see through a windshield, and I know people who do like that, they want it way high, they just want to look through it, complete protection. None of my windshields are like that. None of them I can see through, right? All of them, I'm above and I'm looking straight down. So they do this one in where they won't have it in the smoke, because in case you do have to look through, you're not going to have that vision. Also know too, there is always, in whether it's the flare from Clockworks or it's the Harley one, you are going to have a little bit of a blur right here in the windshield, right where that curve is. I've never found that to be a problem. It never fazed me once at all. It's so small and minute to me, maybe about an inch worth. But if that's going to be something that's a bother, maybe the flare windshield isn't going to be for you. But do also know that Harley, the measurements for Harley are exact. So if it's a 10-inch windshield, from that center bolt up is going to be that 10-inch mark. The Clockwork ones, when we get to that, it's not always the case. The measurement's a little bit different. So if you're out in your garage and you're actually measuring from the bolt on up, it's actually going to be a little bit different measurement, and you want to keep that in account, because just an inch, and I know that's what she said, right? Just an inch goes a long way when it comes to this, right? And I can't believe I just did a that's what she said joke, but anyways, an inch is going to go a long way when it comes to this on your wind protection. It can like make or break it, at least in my mind, to which windshield you're actually going to pick. So this one I find suitable, but what I don't like about this guy is it doesn't have the heavy smoke tint. I like that look. I like the way it looks on the bike. If looks isn't your thing, that's cool, or maybe this is how you want it to look, that's fine. But this one just didn't cut the mustard for me. When it came to it, I just didn't like the look so much. So I do tend to go more towards the Clockworks, because they do offer it in that smoke version that I do prefer. So if you guys get an idea, this is how I sit on this guy, 6'3", and this guy's what, right about my kind of lip nose level. I do still see over it, but I can see through it as well because it's clear, right? Or mostly clear anyway. So that's what I think on this guy. Let's move on to the next. All right, this one is my straight up favorite for touring, hands down. So when I'm on the road and I'm going to Sturgis for 2 weeks, going to Daytona, whatever it may be. This one I just got done using for Sturgis this year. This one is my favorite. Couple things to know about it. All right, so this one is their 10.5 inch when it comes to Clockworks flare, right? So there's flare, and then there's Harley's wind splitter. The flare now, as you can see, it's got a much more of a kickback when it comes to this windshield. Harley's doesn't have this far back. If I would compare the two when it came to wind protection, I would say the flare beats the Harley one. I feel this one has much better buffeting with their design, and it might be because it does kick back farther than Harley's, but I feel like this one I have a lot less. I can hear the speakers clearer than what I can hear on Harley's 10-inch one. I can hear my Bluetooth clear, everything, the wind buffeting up and over, it's great. I also like this one because of the styling. I like that dark tint that comes with it. Harley won't dark tint theirs when it gets this high, and I understand it because it's tough to see through, but for some of us taller riders, we do like it. I can still see over this one, which is great, but it still gives it that cool kind of slick look, and I think it really works with the profile of the bike. That's some of the stuff that's important to me. Again, my opinion, if you like the tall ones, you like that look, that's cool, that's awesome. But for me personally, I like this style plus the function of this bike. Okay, something you need to know about it when it comes to this windscreen. Harley, when they measure and they go straight up from that bolt, now you gotta understand it's straight up this way and back, that's gonna be 10-inch, okay? When Clockwork measures, and this is a 10.5 inch from there straight back, it's only 9.25 straight up. I hope that makes sense. So 9.25 inches straight up is the coverage, where Harley's is 10-inch is their coverage. So you can see this one is probably just a smidgen below what the Harley one is, but yet I get better coverage for the buffeting factor. So just make sure you guys keep that in mind, okay? So when you go to do it, it can be a little bit weird when you go on and you go, oh, 10.5 inch, And then you're gonna see there's the Clockworks and their next one of 11.5 inch. It doesn't always mean 10.5 inch is 10.5 inch straight up and that's the coverage you get. No. Okay, this one's 9.25, but in Harley's version, it does mean that the 10 inches is 10 inch. So this one's actually just a little bit shorter, but in turn, I do get better coverage. And I do believe it's because of that flare design. I like it. Again, I can see through it. I think it looks good. So this is definitely my pick for me personally when it comes to touring and I'm going long distance. This is my go-to one out of all my windscreens. So a little bit of a heads up on that, okay? All right, we'll jump to the next one. Here we go. All right, this is Clockworks now. They're 11.5 inch. It is big. This is the biggest one that they sell. I figured being 6'3", I was gonna be good to go on this guy. But now this guy at 11.5 inch from the bolt to the top is 11.5 inch. Right? So if you guys have been following along with me, you can see how that can totally throw you off when you're shopping for these things. So 11.5 inch on this one is 11.5 inch. The next step down in the flare, that 10.5 inch is only 9.25 inch to the top, right? So that's a big difference between these two. And it really is. I mean, it really shows that it is a big difference. This one, I'd almost have to be looking through. It is too high for me to see above, and with the smoke, it just isn't gonna fly. Now, maybe if I was like 6'5", 6'6", a taller rider, bingo. This is definitely the windshield to go with. I mean, it is like eye level with me right at that point. And that is one of the points I'm trying to get across. This is not what you'd want where you're looking right here at it and through it. It's tough to see. This is not what you wanna go touring. This is during the day right now. If it was night, there's no way I'm gonna see this. And then if I go have my helmet on and that's got a mild tint on it, this is gonna be very, very difficult. If it was clear, it would probably be better and more beneficial for you, but you're still gonna have a little bit of this flare. So if this is one that you actually wanna see through and you still like this look, go with it. I also wasn't a fan of how it looked on the bike. This one just looked too big and like a bubble cruiser. And again, nothing against anybody who wants to have that and they want all that protection, that's good. For me, I need to have style and function to kind of meet in the middle. I'm a big fan of that, all right? Like Willie G has always said, right? You know, everything reports back to styling and the emotion of it. And to me, I need that styling component as well. So this one really didn't hit those for me. So this guy was too big. So I actually have like an extra windshield. I actually have, you've seen, I've had a few extra windshields out here. But this one didn't hit the mark. So this one I just don't even use. So to get back to it, to kind of sum it up, the only two that I actually come down to at my height of 6'3" of using, if I'm going out touring, the Clockworks flare at 10.5 inch is awesome. That's the one I use when I'm going long distance. And if I'm around town, I really like the Harley-Davidson wind splitter one that's at 7 inch. Now, you can go anything lower than that, whatever your preference is when it comes to it. I like the wind when it's around town, so I keep it nice and low. And then when I go out touring, like I said, that Clockworks at 10.5 inch, which is actually only 9.25 inch, works out well. So hopefully you guys can see how this can be a little bit of a pain when you go out shopping and you're going to look at this. Hopefully this provides clarity. But feel free, if you guys have any questions, kick it towards me. I will certainly do my best to answer them. And maybe there's more stuff out there and we can do another video on this if this kind of didn't cover everything that you guys wanted to know. But I thought it'd be good to kind of dig into detail on these windshields because it can be confusing on what to pick. So appreciate you guys checking in again to Torque and Power. If you guys could hit that subscribe and like button, that would be awesome. And until next time, see you guys later.